It's actually not Elden Ring. It's actually a disc that I printed that just plays the Rick Roll video, and I printed Elden Ring.
Like, we have to just sit here and watch.
Never gonna give you up.
All right, man. No.
Turn
Cool.
around
Yeah, I think
and
we are-
desert you.
Never gonna give. Never gonna give.
Never gonna give. Never gonna
Keep you up.
give.
Let you down. But I desert you.
Desert you.
Is that more Starfield stuff?
Yeah, I just thought I'd have a look at it.
But there's got to be like a free use Photoshop that's nearly as good. Ironically, I did do a quick Google, and the funniest one that was like the top rated one that I found is called GIMP.
What are you talking about?
Like a fake Photoshop.
Sorry, Photoshop. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were thinking of a picture, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, there's a free one called GIMP.
I'm sure I can find a cracked version of this thing. I just need
What? Genuine question. Why do you want a cracked Photoshop? Why can't you do something else?
I've just used Photoshop and I sort of like know like
Cool.
the shortcuts and like freehand stuff and whatnot. That's the only reason. And also like I don't know. I'm guessing the other ones can open up Photoshop files as well. But I've already got files that are Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That would be a long thing if you had to. You're like, it's free, but they have to remake everything. That would be swag.
This one guy's like, Pony's already coming up with the excuses for when Starfield does good and they haven't even seen the game yet. You're doing the opposite and you haven't even seen the game yet.
Tell him. But you haven't seen the game either.
I'm doing the same emojis that he did as well.
Yeah, 2 laughing and a crying. Looking at my notes, I realize how much I rely on you to help set the scene. Like, there's this huge skip where I just assume between the two of us we'll be discussing what goes in between, which is why I don't, do exactly what happens. I do not live consciousness stream, but like my thoughts of like the big things that pop out. Like, it literally goes, Dr. Harrow recounts Mark's psychotic episode, back to the hippo, they're dead. But in between that, there's that whole, like, the actual stuff in the psychologist chair, the hippo reading her flashcards. We're blessed. It'll be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fine. If it's a shit show, that's half the fun, isn't it?
All right.
What's having to be... Wait, no, I already ruined it. I couldn't even say happening right.
I
So what's having?
All right. I think we're all recording.
Yeah, let's do it. Are we all recording?
Yeah, I hit the buttons.
All right, cool.
What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to Streamcast, a show on the internet where we watch the latest and greatest stuff on streaming services with you guys.
I was like, where's he going with this?
I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing? I'm actually doing really good.
Yeah?
Frick how you're doing.
Oh, sorry. Okay, no problem.
Because this is the first episode that I, like, unironically, genuinely enjoyed the whole way through.
Yes.
And I was
Right.
wrong. Last episode, I said, they've got maybe 5-10 minutes in this thing and I'm going to get bored. I'm so glad we spent the whole time here. It was so well done.
The only problem, I enjoyed the episode as
Yeah.
well, and I did like the way they explained the whole like multiple personalities and the reasons for
agree.
it and stuff like that.
It was really good.
But we still haven't got a. Oh no, sorry, we did actually. No, I'm gonna go back on it. We got the reason why he's having this whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say like, why is someone torturing him in his brain and whatnot?
Yeah, yeah.
But I know why.
Do we?
It's so he can balance the scales, isn't it?
So one thing I was really confused about.
It's like the boat that he's on is making him do whatever.
Yeah, so my understanding is that if they don't sort of come to terms with everything, and bounce skills. By the time they get there, they just get thrown overboard and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
What I didn't understand, and maybe one of these super smart, big, wrinkly-brained bears can tell me, is why randomly both Mark and one time Stephen get pulled into the psychologist room with Dr. Harrow. That's the bit I didn't understand, because it happens almost immediately, because we sort of thought like, oh, who's messing with them, right?
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, I guess we'll just quickly
Yeah.
start.
Before we do that,
Yeah, frick the show.
thank you. So fuck you guys all, by the way, last week who made us laugh
You
out of our
dickheads.
asses.
You're dickheads.
We couldn't contain it, but everyone said it was the best episode they've ever seen of Streamcast, and
It was hilarious.
stuff. But thank you to some special bros over at patreon.com/conversations who support this show, make everything happen at Conversations. Those people are Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumso, Sabine from Smallville, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, Cats with the Friendly Patron, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Super Sus Ben Fryer, the Filthy FIFA Fanatic Joe McCormack, Clark, the 53rd. My Juicy Left Nut, the super sexy producer Sean, Jack Nicholas, that's his legal name.
It's his legal
now.
name.
It's done. It's just set in stone. Anytime he commits a crime, think about Jack Nicholas.
I love how it's
the
not
nonce.
voting, not ID, just whenever he commits a crime.
When he commits a crime.
Right.
And Kevin, the number one simp. Of the British mid-30s to 40s woman hippo?
What was the deal with that?
She sounded like she was like just a regular woman you see down the shops or whatever. She's just
She had some very
such an
bizarre
odd choice.
Like, her accent was like very consistent.
Oh dear, the scales aren't balanced.
But
You
she's
better get them
American,
done before
though.
they-
But she speaks like
So weird.
a dinner lady from the 40s. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's up? It's very
So
strange.
Anyway, thank
also,
you guys
for
so
such
much.
a large animal, she's very dainty, and I found that very not off-putting. I'm not confused. What's the word for that? Like, it was subverted expectations, isn't it?
Right,
For her to be
right.
so like delicate and soft-spoken and stuff, and dainty, but to be this massive thing, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was cool. Also, so different from Khonshu.
Yes. Conscious very dear. Oh boy.
And he also looks like, ominous, powerful god.
Yeah.
She just looks like she's down to pie.
Yeah. TTF.
Is that his girlfriend?
No, so they say it after. So let's get into the episode. So we start the episode off exactly where we left off before. Ah!
Yeah, she shouts as well.
Yeah.
And then
Immediately back to the
chair.
doctor's room.
this is the bit
And-
that's confusing me, seriously.
Yes.
Why are we coming back to this room where we're being told this is all a like a psychotic episode, which I guess in a weird way it kind of is, and we do find out about that. But why do we keep coming back to here, and why is it Harrow? Because we know all this stuff with Harrow is real.
Yeah.
So I'm really confused.
I'm confused by that bit as well because it's like because it happens as well when they're fully understanding of where they are and
Yeah.
what they're doing, and it's like so.
and there's no shock.
Is someone
there's
trying to
no
pull the wool over my eyes?
Stimulus. It's not like they die and then get zipped back to here.
Yeah,
and in
infinite
fact,
loop type thing.
that almost happens the opposite way around, where he breaks out of it when he gets sedated and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not understanding what's going on there.
It is a bit odd.
I mean, no shock that we didn't understand something.
No shock there, exactly.
Right.
But we get started, and he's in the chair, and Harrow's trying to explain to him. It's like, look,
You had a psychotic episode.
psychotic
basically.
episode, and
Yeah.
it's like, and then he tries, no, you're not real, doctor. And he's
I
like,
feel
trying-
pretty real.
He's like, I feel pretty real. It's like, this feels real. And he's like, look, tell me what's more likely. Tell me what's, you're like a pendulum right now, swinging between nonsense and sense.
Yeah.
Tell me what's more likely. A talking hippo, or what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, so it's more. It's like it's the talking hippo, and you're also a superhero who serves an ancient Egyptian god.
Now tell me,
Or
is that nonsense or is that sense? He's like, nonsense.
see, this is the thing as well. Like, I don't get it because we know that is true. That's real life.
Yeah.
And throughout this episode, it looks like Dr. Harrow
Yeah.
is a force for good.
This is
I'm really confused.
This is the confusing bit because it's almost like we find out later what this place is, right? It's
Yeah.
the part of the underworld, and it's like the transition part, right?
Yeah.
But
It's sort of like his what do they call that?
the
Limbo
duat they call
or whatever.
what?
It's limbo.
Oh,
isn't it?
limbo
Yeah.
essentially, yeah. But it's like the transition period. You're getting onto the afterlife,
Yeah.
right? And later on, they also say that this whole thing is like you've got to try and resolve whatever issues inside you, so you can balance the scale, so
Yeah.
that you can pass on to the afterlife in the fields where you can just run free and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool, I get that. That's why he goes and looks at all those memories again.
Right.
But this convincing part, convincing me that I'm insane part, and that isn't real, what purpose does that serve? And
Right.
that's the confusing bit I don't get.
It is confusing as well because Dr. Harrow seems to not be like trying to mess stuff up. It's not like an illusion by actual Harrow trying to mess stuff up. And he does a lot of good to Stephen when Stephen comes in.
Yeah.
Stephen gets like these real moments of like self-awareness, and he puts into Mark's head like you should speak to Stephen.
Yeah.
You guys need to work stuff out. So I'm really confused what Dr. Harrow's role is.
Really confused.
But I gotta say I really liked Ethan Hawke's as the therapist.
Yeah. Don't hurt him. Be gentle. Be gentle. Be gentle.
See there, I'm like, this is totally manipulation.
Yeah.
But then throughout this episode, I'm like, why is he helping but making them think that a lot of this is a delusion when we know it's not a delusion because this is what is called the duat.
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 Yeah, I think so,
Like he's
yeah.
in the duat. This is the duat. Wait, this is it. So I'm still confused about that.
In this scene, did you notice anything?
Maybe.
You might have to go back and watch it because it's not something I can tell you. You have to see it and hear it. So in this scene where he gets told, like, that's nonsense. And
Yeah.
whatnot, he only says a few words in the beginning where he's just like, you're not a doctor. And he says it in a low voice. So you can barely hear him. It's like, it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah, he does say it's nonsense, yeah.
And then afterwards, he's just sort of like, something happens. He's just like, okay, like, I've had enough. And it's like, oh, doctor, you really helped me out. Thanks so much. He grabs one of the, like, glass pyramid
Yeah,
things.
I
And
caught
you,
that.
doctor, you really helped me out. Thank you very much. You're a regular Manhattan Project. He speaks in a different accent. Not Mark's accent. Not the British accent of Steve.
I haven't noticed that.
Another person.
I never noticed that. Also, the Manhattan Project is totally the wrong place. Isn't that Dr. Manhattan from DC? Frickin' Marvel always copying DC.
Marvel,
go back
DC
and-
is the blueprint. He says
Also,
that.
very interestingly, if you're right, because Jake's number one response is to always go to violence, and he picks up a shank.
And apparently
functionally.
he's a New York taxi cab murderer, mass murderer.
Hey,
So-
what are you doing here? I'm trying to get therapy.
Now, that is the one time he uses that accent.
I'm not even joking. Because normally it's like, oh, I'll go back and watch it, and I forget. I actually want to go back and watch this.
Go
now.
watch it. It's right in the beginning, so you'll see
Yeah,
it
yeah,
straight
yeah.
away. But I was like, hold on a second. I rewind it, and I'm like,
I did think it. It's funny you said that because I did remember feeling like that was a very stark shift, but
Yeah.
I never saw him do the.
no, that's the thing. He doesn't do that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe when he wakes up, because also in that thing as well, his like nose is like broken and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and he's got like a
one of them at
plaster on
least,
it.
yeah.
And I'm like, did he get beaten up by someone for a second? Like I don't recognize that. And I think when we jump into that, the reason. It's so confusing. So when
I'm very
The
confused.
moment before he jumps into the therapist's office again, it's Mark and Steven outside
Yeah.
with the hippo.
Yes.
And then we blip back and we're in the therapist's office.
Yeah.
Do each one of the personalities go to the therapist's office first and they have to make their way out of it and then they get to the hippo?
Well, no, because Stephen's never been here before. When Stephen gets here at the end, he's never been there, and
True.
he doesn't. Dr. Harrow doesn't seem to know Jake exists,
Yeah, he never mentions him.
so it's odd. So I genuinely would like that explained if you
Thoroughly
can. Yeah.
confused right there. Anyway, but as we know,
After-
Jake is the hippo, so
Yeah.
we don't know why we
Jake
even
is the
asked
hippo.
him.
So that's exactly what I was going to say. So after the Mark sort of goes, it's nonsense, blah blah. He picks up the pyramid to shank Dr. Harrow up because even though Mark's from America, our boy Stephen is from the ends.
He's actually from Shanktown, isn't it? You know what I'm saying, bro.
We live in Shanktown, and no one around here speaks like Stephen. And then
Yeah,
He,
they like inject him.
They
and,
inject
like,
him with something, and he zips back to Jake,
Yeah.
who's saying like, you know what, we've never actually had this before. 2 souls, no,
Yeah.
1 soul, or it's something weird. Basically, it feels like they're 2 people, but they're here together, which can only mean that they're definitely linked.
Yeah.
But Jake, the hippo, is treating them like they're 1 soul, or
Yeah.
that they're both people. It's weird.
Yeah, it does make. She does make a joke going like, "Oh, oh, are you like twins or something?" It's like
That's right.
something
You're
else.
like twins. And it's funny as well. Mark's like, no. So it's like, yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And he goes.
She pulls
so,
out her flashcards.
yeah, pulls out
We've
flashcards,
got
like,
cards for this.
So you're dead. You're in the afterlife. So this is how it goes. Stephen figures it out because he knows like ancient Egyptian and what this is
Yeah.
what and whatnot. This is like the afterlife. We're gonna head over here. You're the god of like love and children or something like that.
Yeah,
he
that's
says,
a weird
something
one
like
to
that.
take you to the afterlife, I would have thought.
The god of the afterlife, you think would be something like that, or the transition, whatever. Anyway, the god of love and children, whatever. And basically breaks it down. It's like, no, you guys are dead. It's like, we are.
Yeah.
So what is all of this place then? It's like this is like the transition period. You go over there, and Stephen is like enraptured. He's trying to figure it out as well. Why it's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, it's a real god, and trying to figure out what's going on.
Mark goes full denial.
Mark goes, but he also explains it to Stephen because Stephen doesn't understand. That it's like we are actually crazy. The reason why both of us exist.
That's the point. Yeah,
'cause
he's
we
like,
are fucking crazy."
Yeah, I think Steven says, "Well, why are we here?" And he's like, "It's because we're crazy."
Yeah.
And it's because Mark's the core personality, and he knows he is crazy.
Yeah. It's like, and this is we're dead. This is the end. This is it. This is it.
And then he barges through a door.
Yes.
No, wait. He's like, "No, I'm not accepting this. I got to go back." Something. Then pushes through the door and it walks out from the psych ward onto the ship, which is sailing the sands of Egypt or something.
7 sands.
Something like that. It's bizarre.
And yeah, they're like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, yeah, we're on the transition and stuff like that. It's like, we're gonna and
Basically, if you don't, oh yeah,
then she just like reaches into their chest like magically, pulls out 2 clear white hearts.
Yeah.
I guess that's what a heart looks like when it's like not got blood in it, right?
No,
I've seen something like that on the internet where like a
Oh!
heart completely drained of blood.
it's not blood. That's super interesting. Totally aside, that's all the collagen that makes up the structure of the heart. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Sciencey stuff.
some clear
So she pulls
hearts.
out those 2 clear hearts, and also I thought it was funny. She's like, Gil, she's like, "Oh, I didn't think that would work. Here's little old me worried I was about to blow out your chests."
Feel like you should have asked me before doing that then.
Or at least
feel-
buy me a drink. Shit.
You've been inside me now.
So she puts them on one side of the scale, balanced against the feather, and it's like there's chaos in them, right? We've heard this from Harrow. And she goes, "Oh, that's not good." I think, is it her or Stephen? But one of them explains that if you don't get these scales balanced, well, by the time we get to that door, you're going overboard.
Yes, like
And-
the souls will just get
Yeah,
reclaimed.
no,
and
no field
whatnot.
of reeds. And like, this is a good place. These are Riley reeds.
These are right. Many, many Riley Reeds, and that's
You know,
what you want.
It's a field of reeds. Suddenly, we're all more interested in it.
Full back tat and everything.
So like, I'm sorry. I'm not that sorry. It's get it sussed or get deaded.
Yeah.
Like extra deaded.
Extra, even more than already.
So basically, Stephen's like, we need to work this out.
They also look overboard and they see like the bodies in the sand as well, like hands out of them.
Yeah,
like-
that's right. Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh shit, we don't want to be like that."
Yeah, we don't want to be there. Yeah.
So yeah, they go back into the psych ward area and they look into some of the windows.
I gotta say, up to this point, because I was a little bit disappointed we didn't meet our 3rd character in this episode, I was like, is that scale unbalanced because it's missing a heart?
Missing the 3rd one.
Yeah. Which would have made it heavier, not lighter, but that's not the point.
And as we know, the scales they go like this, it means add more weight to it.
Exactly. Everybody knows this. But I was thinking, oh shit, okay, cool. This is our way into Jake, isn't it? They're going to be like, oh, we've settled our stuff. Why isn't it balanced? And then that we'd hear the sarcophagus, but we didn't get that.
Yeah, we didn't get that. They go back into the psych ward, and in each one of the windows, there's like a different memory. They look into one of them, and it's just Mark standing across the road,
Right.
and he's just looking, and he's drinking something and whatnot. And Stephen's like, "Do you know this road?" And it's like,
Yeah, it's just a road.
"It's
Doesn't
just a
matter.
street, like any other street." And it looks over to the other side, and what's the other side?
He sees, it's like his mum or something is behind one door, and then they go through into like a cafeteria,
Yeah,
and it's all the people Mark remembers killing. And like he goes through, they look like zombies, and he's like, Dubai, Caracas, is that a thing? Morocco. Like he knows where they're from. And this is a really nice scene, actually. Stephen sort of realizes, like, Mark, no, all of them. And then he's like going through, and he's like, oh, this one's from like London or whatever. And he goes, you remember everyone you killed? And Mark says, you try taking a life and forgetting what they look like or something like that. And you're like, cool. Not a cold-blooded killer, not a murderer.
Yeah.
More to it than this. He's had to do these things. And he even says, like, these are all the people that Khonshu said needed to go, basically, right? Which presumably means that it was an okay thing to kill them, morally.
It's very Batman. Like, you know, they've done bad, so I can kill them.
Yeah, they're all villains.
Yeah.
They're all, like, it's okay to kill them. It's morally okay, but it takes a toll, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not an easy thing to do just because they deserved it.
Yeah.
And then Stephen clocks a little boy
Yes.
standing off in a corner, and he's like,
So, hey, what are you doing
What?
here?
Mark, why is there a little boy in this room full of people that you've killed?
Like, not a little boy. And it's like, I really thought he'd killed the little kid.
I was really, but also I was like, there's no way he had that response to those people and then he's killed a kid.
Yeah.
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah.
And Stephen runs after the kid.
He does. Runs after him, goes around the corner, down a corridor, so and so, and he manages to get away from Mark. Mark's chasing him, but he gets away from him. And I think he goes into one of the memories, right? Into one of the doors.
He does. It's the first memory. They're
And,
at dinner table, something like that.
Yeah, dinner table. They're like all just their family, and it turns out it's Mark's brother.
Yeah.
And mum's there and dad's there. They were having a good old
Also,
time.
Stephen recognizes mum and dad. He knows mum and dad.
Yes.
This is odd.
Yes.
Because I sort of felt like he didn't know them. It was just like a blank. And of course you would call your mum. But he does know mum and dad.
Yeah.
And young Mark and young Mark's brother are going to go out and play while dinner's getting ready.
Yeah.
Mark even says, laters, gators, but it's an American thing. And a wild crocodile, you know. That was really sad, actually.
Quite sad.
That was
Quite
really
sad.
And basically they go and play. They go out into the, not garden, but into somewhere.
A canyon somewhere. It seems to be like
Yeah,
what
so
the fuck they go
basically
to.
it starts raining.
Yeah.
And little, what's Mark's last name? Spectre.
Spectre. Yeah.
Young Spectre.
Young Spectre.
Spectre Jr. is like, oh, Mark, we should go home. Mum said not to do this if it's raining. He's like, it'll be okay. And they go into a cave.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I thought this was a bit bizarre, but Stephen steps on a bird skeleton and it ends up looking like
Yeah,
Khonshu. And I don't
Khonshu.
know what the deal was with that.
Very
I felt
odd.
that was out of place.
I wonder, I mean, there's only one episode left, so it's hard to do this, but I wonder if, like, Khonshu could foresee from then, like, what would trigger him to bring him to the point later to take him and do what do his bidding. But there's
or
not,
manufacture those events.
perhaps.
And they go in, and it starts really raining.
And Stephen's like, no, boy, little boy, come back,
Yeah.
come back.
Boys, where are you?
Where are you? And he goes after him.
I gotta say, I felt really anxious watching this
Oh my
scene.
gosh, it's like,
Yeah.
what level?
Oh, like there's a point where there's like a hole in the rock, so he has to get down into the water.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, that made me really freaking tense.
It's like those people that do like cave diving.
Yeah, well, frick those are adults. Those guys, if they die, I'm not natural selection in it. Well done.
Exactly.
You earned your Darwin Award, bruv.
And he goes down, and I think that's where that scene ends, right?
Yeah, it's more, so it sort of ends like yeah. So I don't exactly remember how.
Oh, wait, I think we go back to
Oh.
Mark, and Mark
Mark's in
opens
the
up another
hallways.
memory.
Yeah.
He opens up another memory
He
and
walks into Tyler's house
walks in Tyler's house.
because of all the rabbis and stuff.
I was wondering Tyler's house. I was like, hold on a second. I see what you're
I like that
doing.
you just yes-anded it. You're like, I don't get it at all. I'll go with it. Tyler's house.
Brother thing, you know. Walk in there, and it's like a funeral, and
It's exactly like a funeral.
and Stephen is there, and he's soaking wet. And he's like, Stephen, what the hell happened to you, man? What are you doing? You need to get out of here. And he sees the mother mourning, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
the boy clearly didn't make it. And then you hear.
So I'll say though, at this point, I was like, what if it was Mark that didn't make it?
Ooh.
and Steven survived and Mark's the personality. He recreated his brother. Except that did happen just the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see Mark come down the stairs, all dressed up.
What's he doing here?
And Mother does not take it well.
Mum hates Mark.
I understand her pain. But
Mum
it's not like
hates
the
Mark.
kid held him down and fucking drowned the boy to death.
Yeah.
And it just goes off and is like, what are you doing? It's all your fault.
Yeah.
In front of everyone.
Yeah.
My God.
He runs upstairs.
Yeah.
Stephen follows him, and Mark stops Stephen going into the room.
Yeah.
It's a really... We don't need to see that. We don't have to relive this. Let's go.
And they head out.
Also, so it's really important. Stephen's really pushing to, like, address all this trauma because they need to, and to be honest with each other about what happened so that they can balance their scales. And basically, I think they both plan on going back, but there's utterly no hope if they go overboard because I think Jake the hippo explained your souls are destroyed. That's it. Gone for good. Done.
Yeah.
So you need to at least have not that.
Yeah.
Right? Because you might be able to get out of heaven, but you're not getting out of being deleted.
Yeah.
You know? So Mark pulls him... Where does Mark put back to the hallway?
Back to the hallway. And I think he tries to... And he goes like, no, we have to find out this stuff. And they talk about it. And...
No, it's not back to the hallway. He pulls him out. I thought it was back to the ship, but it's actually to the desert, to the event, to the hostage killing.
Oh, okay.
I was like... Because he pulls him away from the room, and he's like, you don't need to go in there. We don't need to relive this. Pulls Stephen away, and they sort of fall almost into the next memory just seamlessly. And I'm like, oh shit, did the ship crash? Because there's like something on fire in the desert. Right, but it's not. It's the memory of the evening when he becomes Khonshu's vessel or whatever.
Yeah. He tries to explain. It's like, you killed all these people? And it's like, no, I was trying to like get them away. I was trying to get them to safety because the other partner I was with wanted different plans for these guys, but I couldn't save them. Like,
so there's another thing of Jake here where he says, I joined the military, basic gist, joined the military, but it turns out if you go AWOL while in a fugue state, which means Jake was in control or one of the other personalities was in control and he went AWOL, they don't look at that too well. So I went freelance, basically, right? I joined here, but my partner got greedy and tried to kill these people. I was trying to keep them safe. And he's like, well, where are you then? Points over.
And there's like a temple.
Yeah, and a trail of blood.
A trail of blood.
And there's Mark crawling his way.
Seemingly on his last legs, just sort of like, fucking bleeding. And he's at the foot.
I'm fucking bleeding.
And fucking bleeding. And, like we said, a trail of blood. And guess what? He's bleeding. Did you know?
Crazy.
Crazy. And he's at the foot of the statue of Khonshu.
Yeah, he tries to top himself, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, he's just at his end. He
does that movie thing where he touches his side. Blood. Yeah, you've been shot, Mark.
Turns out.
And then he goes, oh, well, I guess I'll just KMS.
It's the end of the month. All right, pull that gun out. Such a waste.
Right.
And you're like,
pardon me?
I mean, he wasn't as freaked out as he should have been.
I feel like he's down to his last liter of blood.
True. Maybe he hasn't got the thought process.
Also, he's not too worried about dying. He's, about being killed. He's dying and was going to kill himself.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
true.
Fear's out the window at this point.
Oh no, something's going to kill me.
Something scary. Oh, wow.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
He's like, who is that? And Khonshu speaks to him, and it's like, it's such a waste. And he says, essentially, I can heal you,
Yeah.
but you must pledge yourself to me.
Yeah. Keep the travelers of the night.
Keep the
safe
travelers
and
now
punished
safe by
there.
punishing the ones that
Yeah.
do wrong. And
That sounds like a pretty good deal.
but the one bit that gets to me is that he says, punish my enemies.
Does he say that?
He says my, as in like of Khonshu's enemies that have done wrong.
Interesting.
And I was like, ooh, that's
interesting. That adds a totally different angle here.
That's the fine print of the contract that you just go be like, what's that bit about us?
That does change things quite significantly, doesn't it?
Yeah. And he says yes, he's on his last legs. He just doesn't care anymore. And in that moment, his eyes glow and he starts to heal.
It's
and
pretty
he
cool.
suits up, and it's really awesome. It's really cool. Like
It's very awesome.
And then what happens next? Does he pop back out to the hallway?
Yeah, so they leave. Basically, like we've seen enough. We don't need to relive this. Let's go. They don't pop out back to the hallway. They pop back to I believe it's the bridge of the ship.
Okay.
And because like there's some almost like a memory earthquake sort of thing, they pop out. And what's the problem, Hippo Lady, Jake? And there's all these souls slamming into the sands.
A bunch of souls prematurely being brought here.
Yeah, she says Harrow's sending souls here before their time.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness, they are slamming into the sands.
Yeah.
Which is the, where you do wrong area. So what makes a great villain is having a good argument. And it does seem like Harrow is sending people who are going to Egyptian hell
Yeah.
here. It's just before they're ready,
Yeah.
So
The only thing about that as well is that you know how like the other gods wouldn't believe that Harrow was doing anything
Right.
wrong? Well, one of the gods has seen it with his own eyes.
right. Oh, hey, you guys
Yo-
weren't lying.
Yo, Oris, turns out Anu, what's his name, Anubis, whatever, all you bitches up there. Turns out he wasn't chatting shit. He's actually doing it. Yeah,
it was quite a serious allegation. Maybe we should have like investigated it just a little bit.
maybe.
I mean, I know the guy said he wasn't doing it, but like maybe if he was doing it, he wouldn't admit to it.
Maybe he lied about that.
But they're only ancient gods who have been around humanity for thousands of years.
How would they know what the human psyche is like? Come on now. Anyway, yeah, they're so they go back there and then they go, okay, you guys, you've got one option to go through the gate of Horus. I think they said something like that.
Yeah, whatever the afterlife is.
And she like steers the ship the other way, but you still can't go through it until your scales are
basically she's
are
like, I'm going to
balanced.
take the long route, or I'm going to go to a different version of it.
Yeah.
But you still have to get this done before we get there.
And it's slowing down a little bit. It's like that still now,
Yeah.
and they're like, go and get back in there and get it sorted.
Yeah, it's good because it looks like that whole thing with the dead cafeteria and like Mark bearing his soul a little bit has cleared things up and
a bit, yeah.
it is helping. So the mission is to go and deal with all of our trauma basically,
Yeah.
and then we'll at least not be deaded. Maybe we'll get to meet Riley.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm so sorry. What happens then? I feel like Mark skitzes out here and ends up back in the chair.
So what happens in one of them is like I think they say that we need to go back into that specific memory where you pulled me out from, and Mark tries. He just doesn't want to relive that memory again because it's
You're
so fucking traumatic, and there's some really good acting on Oscar Isaac's
really
part.
good.
It's just the way he's just like no, I won't go back there. I won't go back there. It's like smacking his head. He's like no, I won't.
So-
no, I won't.
From the bridge, they go back into the hall, and this is a really good progression. It's a great scene. Steven's like, okay, look, let's go back to that room. You didn't want me to see something. Like, let's go and see it. And he goes, no, look. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just ask me. Which, bruv, we can't trust you, bruv. We know this. I'll tell you anything. It's like, no, we've got to go and see it. And that's where he starts, like, having the episode and, like, hitting himself. It's like, you can't make me. I won't do it. You can't make me. And that's where we wake up back in the chair. And also what's weird is it seems like he's disconnected from things in the room and out of the room. So like he wakes up and his first question is, did you drug me with something? He's like, Harrow's like, you watched too many movies. We didn't drug you.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Come on, how could we do that against your will?
And this is where I start to get really confused because initially I'm like, okay, Harrow's messing with stuff. But he pours him some water, hands it to him, and he goes, you're doing really well. Like, you've dealt with all this trauma. We've spoken about all this stuff. Mark, and he basically says, like, I think the last thing you need to do is talk to Stephen.
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm confused because I thought clearly the villain, clearly a force for evil or like not getting this done or chaos or keeping the scales unbalanced. And here he is going, no, open up to Stephen. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
And then he calls. Stephen just comes over. Oh, hello, Doctor.
Oh yeah, Stephen. Does Stephen arrive here?
I think is it here or is it somewhere else?
No, it's a bit later. Because what I've got here is that Mark opens up to Stephen. And then they do go, and there's 3 scenes with Harrow.
Okay.
So there's the second scene with Harrow. He meets him. Turns out he wasn't beaten up. Harrow says, yeah, open up to Stephen. We go back out of the room. And Mark shows Stephen the bedroom.
Yes.
And
It's just fucking difficult to watch, man. It was a hardcore.
It's tough, and one of the things about it as well is
Something starts it first of all. So like it's like his birthday, right? His birthday, and Dad's there trying to keep the peace, trying to keep the kids happy because it's not his fault at the end of the day.
yeah.
But Mother just doesn't wanna celebrate anything.
Yeah, she even says things like, "You're always jealous of him. I should have known you would do something like this." Yeah, really
She's
blames him for
drunk and
everything. Yeah,
It's just so fucked
and he
up.
runs upstairs.
Runs upstairs. He pushes everything off of the side,
Fair enough.
and so this is the interesting part because he's there, and the mum comes upstairs and she starts to like bang on the door that's locked, and Mark is like in the corner just like rocking
That's
himself.
not my mum. That's not my mum.
That's not my mum. And then he blips out into Stephen.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, what a terrible mess here! I better clean
Yeah,
this
he's
up."
English
Starts
now.
cleaning.
Yeah.
But then Mum gets in, and Mum, in the worst, most fucking great acting as a terrible.
It's really
mum,
good.
so
Yeah.
She takes a belt off of the side, off of his off his wardrobe, and just starts mercilessly beating him.
Yeah.
Now, if this is Stephen, how come he can't remember it?
Well, this is the thing. Mark says, "You don't need to see that. You're not supposed to see that."
Yes.
And basically, that's the whole reason you exist.
Yes.
So, the idea here, because it's psychosis, it doesn't have to make sense, is
Yeah.
that Mark doesn't have to be present for this awful thing to happen. Stephen is the one that takes the beating, but in sort of the currency exchange is he doesn't have to have those bad memories. So in Stephen's mind, Mum loves him, Dad loves him, he had this great childhood, and the payoff to that is that there's all these things he doesn't know and remember,
Yeah.
so that he's taking these beatings and Mark isn't present. Mark doesn't have to live through it. It is rough.
It is very
It's really
rough.
it's really well done.
He gets it, and he said, like you said, he's like he says,
It's that one line where he's like, "You don't need to see that. You're not supposed to see that. That's the whole. You not seeing it is the whole reason you exist." And then Stephen realizes he's not the prime. He's not the guy.
So I thought I was the thing, and you were some evil copy of me. I was just made so you could as an emotional boxing bag. Is that
Yeah.
is that it? And it's like, oh fuck, this is hardcore.
It's a great scene, man.
Oh.
It's so good, but like in the worst way. But it's so good.
Yeah,
It's so good.
and he just can't. Oh my god,
Right, and that's where we skits out,
that's where he
and
skits out.
he ends up in the. Well, I don't know the exact thing. Mark opens up to Stephen. So I don't know if it's Mark ends up back in the room, and he's talking to Harrow, and then Stephen comes out. But basically, somehow Stephen ends up talking to Dr. Harrow.
Yeah,
Oh shit! We did forget the major thing. The thing that causes Stephen to have his episode is. Let me go back. Mark and Stephen watch what happened to young Mark. Mark says, like, that's the reason you exist.
Mm-hmm.
And in exchange, you got to live thinking Mum loved you and not knowing all this stuff.
Right.
It's like, no. I know Mum. And he's like, no, Mum's dead.
yeah,
He's like, no, I speak to her all the time. He's like, she's never answered.
yeah.
We don't speak to her.
Confirming what we said
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Oh shit, I did say Mum's dead, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Although that was a total pun. But and that's the point where he's like, okay, denial. No, my mum's not dead.
And then they have I think that's where they have the memory of her funeral, right?
I feel like that might be later on. No, that is a little bit later on.
Yeah, a little bit later on.
So, Mark opens up to Stephen about why he was made up, tells her that he was dead, and then Stephen has the skitsy thing and ends up in Harrow's chair. So we come back to that room as Stephen, and Harrow's trying to wake him up, and Stephen freaks out and throws the water in his face. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, sorry, you gave me a right scare there."
So, oh, Stephen, I didn't think I'd see you again.
So this is where I'm again confused. He goes, he doesn't say that. He says, "I was worried I wouldn't see you again."
yeah,
Not which he should know Stephen shouldn't exist.
yeah.
I was worried.
But
I
it's in
wouldn't
this
see you
duet
again.
thing, so it doesn't even make sense why he's even treating him as a therapist anyway.
I'm so confused.
It's so confusing. It's so confusing.
And then he's like, "Oh, we were talking about this thing, and we brought you that your mum's dead." And Steven's like, "No, what? No, my mum's not dead." He goes, My mistake.
My mistake.
Let me call her."
Let's call her right now.
Dials it up.
So can you just get me
Mrs. Grant.
Stephen Grant, yeah. Mrs. Grant's phone number, yeah, please, thank you very much. Yeah, just put her through, thank you very
I
much.
know,
Yeah,
the best
it's
thing is
ringing, don't worry about it.
diversion where it's like, no, you don't have to. Don't bother her. She's afraid of telemarketers and stuff. And he's like, no, seriously, it won't take too long. And the whole time, like, Stephen's trying to get away from it. And Harold's like, here, do you want to speak to your mum? And he's like, I'm just afraid of going near that phone. It's so
good, isn't it?
And then he gets that closure, not closure, but like that realization, like, I can't. My mum's dead. That hurt me so much.
Really hurt.
That really hurt. And then it zooms into the phone, and you hear that it's just a dial tone.
Yeah.
Which none of you idiots know what a landline is. That's what phones used to look like, bruv.
They're like, I don't understand. When I put my phone up against my ear, it does make a noise.
I do this, not that.
Anyway, yeah, he finally gets the realization that is. And is this where we have the memory?
Where we flip back to Mark in that same memory that we saw through the door, him outside, looking in, and it's the funeral.
Turns out he's outside his old house.
Yeah.
The funeral's going on inside, and Mum's dead.
Mum's dead.
Dad goes to the window and
Yeah.
sees Mark across the road, and he's like taking a swig of whiskey. You can tell he's a bit drunk.
Yeah.
And he's like, come inside. And he's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, no.
And then he just walks away.
And breaks down. And also, I wasn't 100% sure, but I thought I heard him say, I miss you so much.
Yeah. It's like...
So for anybody that doesn't know, so a lot of you guys are a little bit younger, trauma and bad relationships aren't as clean cut as you think if you've never had one.
No.
And this is really common for like abuse victims or people who are treated awfully by their parents to really miss them when they're gone. Also because there's a bunch of unsaid stuff and people spend their whole time trying to avoid seeing that person because they hate them or blame them for so much. And then when they're gone, that idea of like, well, I can't ever address this. I'll never get an apology. I can never say what I had to say to them. It's all gone. And that whole weight just falls on top of Mark and crushes him.
Yeah. Breaks down in the middle of the street. And in order to escape it, just blips into Stephen.
That's a really good visual of exactly why
Stephen
what Mark
exists.
was saying about why he exists.
Yeah.
And then there's that funny thing of like picks up his phone. Mum, you'll never believe it. I've gone and got myself. It kind of looks like Mayfair. It's fucking New York.
Yeah, it's a fucking
It
other
kinda looks
country.
like
mate.
Mayfair, but I'm such a muppet
Yeah.
because that's his whole point is to square these circles of these bad or weird things happening to him and give Mark time to not be there and to like deal or de-stress or whatever and get him back to where he's supposed to be. I really, really, really like this episode. This is, I will say, I think this is one of the better episodes of the Disney shows.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, man.
It was really good. And then I believe we come back out of that memory,
Yeah,
right?
we come back to the ship.
And we come back to the ship. And it's close. Unfortunately, no cigar, though.
Yeah.
Their balancing has not fully balanced out yet.
Yeah, and they're at the gate to Riley Reid's house or whatever it was.
Exactly. And Jake the Hippo's like, yo, you know, it was cool knowing you guys, but you didn't get it done in time. Unfortunately, that's the end of that.
No unbalanced souls on my ship. You got to go.
Exactly. And then a bunch of zombies come out of the sand,
Yeah, sand zombies.
board the ship, and start fighting.
A sand zombie has a real knife.
Yeah, a real knife. And a
Odd.
bat.
Yeah, what was with that?
Don't know.
There's this cool scene. So basically, Mark's fighting them and he's getting ganged up on. Steven decides to help by like pulling the ship so that he messes with everybody's footing. And then Mark's losing.
the inner ear function of a zombie is
It's true.
quite often.
It's well known.
Well known.
They also don't do too well on eye tests. You know, if you want a zombie to read something, no go.
No go.
If you want to really confuse them, you know. And then he's like, okay, Mark's getting messed up. I've got to help. And he comes back to that same body thing. He's like, well, if Mark can do it, that means I can do it. Muscle memory in it.
Yes.
And he comes out and he starts swinging. And I mean, he's still Steven, but like he does it, man. And it's so cool.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, finally, Steven, you're a man now. You got your first kiss.
Yeah.
You know, it might have been your own wife, but
Yeah.
you're your own version of
you
you's
kissed
wife.
your own wife.
Yeah, well done, Stephen. Wins the fight, And then what happens? Does he get dragged over the side?
So yeah, he starts fighting and he hits one of them, but then Mark gets back up and grabs the bat and finishes off the last one.
Yeah.
And he sort of like relaxes back for a second. It's like, we did it.
Yeah.
And then one of the zombies comes over the side and grabs him.
Grabs him.
No, sorry, my apologies. He saves Mark.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Mark at the side.
That's right.
One of the zombies come over and
It's
grabs
even
Mark.
worse because his job is there to save. He exists to save Mark from trauma, and one of the zombies comes and grabs him, and he
Just
pushes it, but gets taken over the side.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Runs right into him, goes over the side with the zombie, and Mark is just like, no, we have to turn around. Turn the ship around. Come, we have to save him. We have to go back. And genuinely wants to get him back. Stephen gets up and tries to run.
Yeah, he ends up being more like Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I'm sorry. But then he starts to like slow down and like, oh, like my powers, my soul is being
yeah,
zapped
sapping
from me.
my strength or something, and he turns to Sam.
And he turns down, puts his hand out, and then slowly just turns completely into sand.
That was rough.
Right in front of Mark's
That
eyes.
was rough.
Fucking hard.
That was really rough.
But then, because now his hearts are balanced,
Right, because there definitely isn't a third one somewhere
right? Ding!
in the hippo.
In the and then you see he's now surrounded by Riley Reeds.
Yeah, that's right. So stupid. I'm so stupid. It's my dumb
It's your
joke.
dumb joke.
I was about to beef you out for making a stupid joke. I made that joke 3 times already.
He's surrounded by Riley Reeds and just
That's it.
everywhere.
We end the scene in that scene from Gladiator,
Exactly. The hand
which
in
is
the-
Rome, I know. Don't beef me out.
Same place.
Close enough in it.
To be fair, where are there reeds in Egypt?
Potato in it.
Even the Egyptians were like, you know what, Rome's pretty nice. We're going to make it, that's our heaven. That's our heaven, okay?
That's our heaven.
And I think that's the end of the episode,
That's
right?
it. Great episode. Genuinely great episode. The best one so far.
Great episode. We have a lot to cover in the last episode. He has to get out of Rome. He has to, after ploughing all the Riley
Listen,
Reeds.
Riley, do you mind?
After ploughing all the Riley
gonna take a
Reeds.
while.
Yeah. And then he's going to have to somehow free Khonshu.
Yep.
And he's going to get his powers back. He's going to somehow, we're going to have to see Amit come up somehow, right? I mean,
Certainly. I mean, look, my big beef about this show is it looks like they're doing an Order 1886 or whatever, and it's very clear that it is setting up season 2, which I don't look. I know season 2's coming. I know that,
yeah.
but I feel like give me a good season 1, and I'll ask you for a season 2. Don't
Yes.
set up. You'll use all of season 1 to set up season 2.
Yeah,
Do you know
it
what I
seems
mean?
that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Also,
Um,
where's Jake? We know for a fact Jake's a thing now, right?
Exactly. Where's
I mean,
Jake gone? The hippo's
The
disappeared.
hippo's no longer driving the boat. She's got our third heart. Turns out Jake's a girl.
Turns out. And yeah, and then we have to defeat Harrow somehow, all in the space of 40
45
minutes.
yeah.
Exactly. I think it says at 45 minutes or 50, but then there's credits that go on for fucking ever.
Also, what is the deal with the credits at the end? Like the credits for all of these shows, like there's like 5 minutes of black screen at the end. What's the
Yeah.
deal with that? Anyway,
It makes you think there's something there, but there isn't. Anyway, and that's the end of that. A good episode, but man, we've got a lot to cover in this last episode now.
there's no way. There's no way that we can. No way that I can tell of us at a good pacing, like a pacing that makes sense. Get our powers back, get alived, save Layla, or at least get her out of there. Not even
Forgot
dealing
about
with,
Layla.
not even dealing with Harrow.
Mm.
Re-alive Stephen, who maybe doesn't actually die because it could be one of those weird things where like he's there, but because there's like the closure, the one soul is Mark, but the personality's there. Like, can one of your personalities' soul die? Isn't it your soul?
Yeah, well, isn't
Right?
it yours in total?
So
anyway?
maybe it'll turn up. Stephen just comes back. We also have to address Jake.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions. A lot
A
of questions.
lot of questions. I was going to say, speaking of questions, but
Yeah, I was
they're
going
not
to say.
questions.
I was trying to think of a real nice.
Speaking of comments
There you go.
that sometimes follow questions, but not this time. Our guys over at patreon.com/conversations wrote in just like you guys can if you want to be a patron for just like $1.
Where
a
the
month.
frick is this room on the Discord?
There we go.
Movie Club. Got
There
it.
you
I'm
go.
so stupid.
Games Master.
Yeah, buddy.
He says, "G'day, bros. Holy shit, what an episode. This week's episode was humorous, interesting, sad, and tragic. I don't know anything about Moon Knight, but Jesus, if that is an origin story, I can't compare him to Batman anymore."
Yeah.
I mean, his dad didn't die, so that's fine.
Exactly. No dead parents. We never got to see his mum's pearl necklace.
We didn't get to see her get a pearl necklace at all. That was so much more depressing.
That was rough, innit?
I thought this week's developments were incredibly interesting, and Mark's personal journey through his past, through Stephen's eyes, was amazing. I love that we are still not sure which part of the psychiatric ward are real, but it's still But I'm still fully invested in the Moon Knight saga in Mark's head, regardless. I love that the question was answered in regards to who's the original, Mark or Stephen, and how sad it is to find out that Stephen is just a coping mechanism for Mark to deal with the abusive, albeit broken mother. I feel that Stephen acting like Mark at the end on the boat to protect him and eventually... acting to protect him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Acting to protect him. I've lost where I was reading from now. Protect him and eventually dying is representative of Mark's mind almost becoming whole again. So that he can move on from his past trauma and learn to protect himself, not have a made up character in his mind do it for him. So that's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah.
But the way that it happened, it wasn't like cathartic and like we both joined together and we're together now, we're one. It was
Yeah.
like ripped away from you.
He lost a brother, functionally. Another
seems
brother.
bad.
From the same mother. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
That's two brothers, Jesus.
what if Jake killed his mum? Also, what if Jake
didn't
doesn't
see how she
exist and
died.
we've just been trolled this whole way?
Yeah, there's no
They know
joke.
there's
Jake's
there's just
not a real thing.
some silly extra sarcophagus somewhere. They've seen that in the comics, and they're like, oh, we'll
Exactly.
tell them it's another personality,
Fucking
and we'll have
bastards.
them believe it's a hippo, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, obviously it is a hippo.
We can't trust anything they say.
You're untrustworthy, motherfrickers.
Untrustworthy. I absolutely love this episode. Cannot wait for the finale next week. Can't wait to see where Moon Knight will fit in the grander MCU in the future.
Agreed. Alpha Aquilele, I love you. That is the funniest freaking thing I've ever seen.
How
It's a
autistic do you have
hippo.
to be to do this?
That is amazing.
He's actually done a hippo in like symbols in a comment. That's funny.
Amazing.
That's funny.
And then look, also you can just do the emoji.
And
Done
he
it
did the
again.
emoji there.
Should have made a hippo out of hippos.
He did.
You no dedication, Alpha.
He could have done that. Come on. Corporate Dingleberry. Right, Sydney says, "Oh my God."
Did you call him corporate? I feel like you said corporate Dingleberry.
I meant to say corporal, but I go Corporal Dingleberry.
Look at this freaking suit.
Fucking suit. Corporal Dingleberry. Oh my God, when Jake the Hippo told Stephen and Mark that they were actually in Duat from the Assassin's Creed Origins DLC, I was freaking out. Love the crossover. Hopefully Asgard from Assassin's Creed Valhalla is next.
I will say.
This is what happens when people play Assassin's Creed.
I will say, Thick Mummy Hippo Jake does say that there are a lot of extra dimensional afterlives.
Yeah.
It's not just this one. There's a
Each
bunch
one's
of them.
different and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
So could be canon.
Could be. Genuinely, though, this episode was great. I know I've talked a lot about Oscar Isaac's performance, but when he was playing Crazy Hospital Patient, he absolutely fucking killed it. He is such a good actor, and it's great to see him essentially play several roles on the same show. It was an extremely insightful episode, and really got into the psyche of Mark's mind. And as a psychology major, I adore being able to take a genuine look at mental health and a superhero with a disorder. That's really awesome to know.
Yeah,
bro.
that's cool.
The effects of an abusive parent and how that affects him and as an adult brings out the alternate personality as a coping mechanism is so interesting to watch. Some of the scenes of him crying and dealing with his past were so heartbreaking to watch unfold. This episode really has solidified this is my favorite Disney Plus show so far. That's let's all pray the finale isn't sloped like the other shows.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I will say
this is the peak end.
I know, right? I will say the mother's actually really believable.
Yeah,
that's a really toxic but natural thing that not natural, but people do that. It's very weird.
I'm surprised that Marvel went that way. Disney went that way.
I'm surprised they let them show that because this is
They
a
were like,
hardcore
Who's gonna
episode.
put a female in a bad light?
Yeah.
I'm props because it was powerful.
It was very
and
powerful.
you're on people's lips now.
And also believable. It wasn't like she wasn't overdone. She wasn't like
She was
Miss Marvel or like what's the one that Brie Larson did? Captain
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, like none of that shit. Like, he's just a human character.
It was broken.
And another thing that I want to say regarding Oscar Isaacs is even his body language is different for these characters, but in a very believable way. So like, there's a point where they're like walking up to the doors to see the hippo, and Mark's there like he's got a fist ready, doesn't know what's going to happen, but he's ready to throw down if he has to be, but he's also cautious and maybe going to run away. And Steven's just like, I don't know what to do, you know, like he's all huddled over. So it's a pity that the other episodes haven't been anywhere near as strong as this one. They've had a lot of good and a lot of meh and then a lot of bad.
Yeah.
You know, there've been a lot of each three. And this one was just all good, pretty much. It's a pity that there weren't more episodes like this.
Yeah.
Especially now that we only have one left.
Yeah.
Over on our Discord, the best and only Discord, Jake the Hippo, just checking, it's Joe bro, says the last episode might tip the scales, but at the minute it seems like they're leaning towards all of this being real, and I don't know, I'm not a fan. What?
I guess all of the
all of what's going on here being real.
Yeah.
Oh shit, do you think this whole thing is a play by Harrow and he's actually mind melding them? We'll find out next episode.
Let's see.
I kind of wanted something different, something like Legion, but maybe the psych ward stuff is all just bait. Yeah, I think that's probably what he means.
That's what we were thinking it would be. That's what we was pitching up.
Yeah, and that's what I thought originally with the Dr. Harrow character, right? Like, initially it looks like he's messing with them, but then in the last couple of scenes, he's really helps a lot.
Yeah, and I don't understand what the objective is of that.
Right.
So
Doesn't make
strange.
sense. Exploring the backstory was decent, I guess, but at times it felt like bits were cut short. Mark's first transformation into Khonshu felt lackluster, and Bushman was such a blink if you miss it, but for hearing moment.
What?
Bushman was such a blink if you Bushman was such a blink or you'll miss it moment.
Okay.
But for hearing, I guess you're hearing Bushman. I don't know if that's like a fourth personality. I don't know. I wonder if he's a twist villain. Speaking of, surprised there was no episode 5 twist villain. Bruv, you've got to learn English.
It's Diogo, man. Come on, man. Fucking hell. What's he know?
The few odd moments of action had so many quick cuts again, and even certain sequences of Mark/Steven had really weird cuts, like it was cut too early or late.
I don't feel like it. Personally, I felt like it was okay.
You know, a lot of you boys have been saying how choppy it is, and at least in my first watch through, where, like, I'll just say it, the way I like to do it is I like to watch with my brain off if I can, just see how my impressions of it. And then if I'm going to do like a proper review, not for these because I'm lazy, but like movie clubs have always been movies we've seen twice at least, right? I'll watch it again and really take notes and pay attention to stuff. I haven't noticed in my just enjoying the show that it's been choppy.
Neither have I personally.
Yeah.
But hey, you know.
Also, it's Diogo in it, so it's almost certainly wrong.
The guy's probably watching it at a different frame rate, like he was watching Spider-Man at the time.
What an idiot.
It's like, man, it cut off really quick. They got
What a freaking moron.
these episodes are only 20 minutes long.
No,
What's
it's
going
a
on?
different FPS, so you're an idiot, bro. Same number of seconds, just more frames. Stupid. Jake was amazing, of course. Hippopotamus. And I was right that they were in the duat.
You did call it last episode.
If
I
you say
remember.
so. No real clue what episode 6 is going, to be honest. I guess Jake told Layla to get Khonshu. Jake? Oh, the fucking hippo. Told Layla to get Khonshu and Mark.
He did say, so there was a bit in the thing that we didn't mention.
Yeah.
They do mention, can you get a message to Layla? We need her to free Khonshu.
Yeah. Although she's still totally trapped in a room full of mercenaries.
Yeah, and also she's just I mean, don't get me wrong, she's quite handy, it seems, but
Yeah.
she's still a person, bro.
I mean, she's like, okay, cool. She's like a Lara Croft. Cool.
Yeah.
But like, supernatural stuff, and she's not got a suit. And I don't know, man. I guess we'll see. What I don't want is for them to have done all that brilliant work, like you're saying, like not doing the weird girl power that ruins the story. So Mum's the villain, and it's so real and human, and it makes sense, and so well acted. And then what I don't want is for Layla to just like boss bitch it and beat like these 50 hired mercenaries all with guns, and she's barehanded and protecting the statue of Amit so it doesn't break.
It seems like they haven't done anything to indicate that, so I'm hoping they're not going to go that route.
I hope so.
It'd be such a jarring thing to go that way.
It would be really rough. Let's see. I guess Jake the hippo told Layla to go get Khonshu, and Mark would just be resurrected because of course he is. Honestly, not a fan of the whole villain decides people's fate thing, because this is the third time it's been done. First was in Soldier with Project Insight, second was Thanos, and now Arrow, aka Ethan Hawke's.
Arrow, innit?
It was really
I
dumb.
the name there, right?
It was really dumb that Mark, a trained mercenary, struggled fighting those sand things, but Steven, with no training, defeated them easily. Hippo emoji.
It's muscle memory, innit?
Then I said, let's hear it for our boy Jake, who marks his territory so well, and that is unironically how hippos mark their territory. I swear to God, that's a real thing. Google it.
Lovely. Jake the hippo writes in, which Jake
I
the hippo
hate
is
it. We
this?
need to just It's tier. We need to change it so our Discord won't allow people to have multiples.
It's one person can have that name and that's it. Jake the hippo says, I really love this episode. It starts with the Spectre boys escaping the asylum in Jake's taxi. The whole episode is just Jake giving Steven and Mark a nice taxi ride through New York, while Mark and Steven get tortured by sharing the moments, showing their memories of each other, so they didn't have to pay Jake for the ride. I think it's a missed opportunity that they killed his brother so soon. I love that we finally got to see the destruction of the Avengers and Loki left behind in 2012. Also, that ending was amazing. Steven falling out of the taxi and Hippo being a badass, not stopping for him like, fuck your dumb British cunt. Fuck you, you dumb British cunt. I think there's a message in there somewhere. If he's British, leave him behind, mate. Hippo.
Giuseppe said, Stephen, no! Hippo emoji react. Cryptic says, why were they calling my favourite mass murderer cab driver Hippo Jake Lockley? Tawa Ete?
So I saw that as well. They mention Tarawate.
Twatty.
Whatever the twatty, yeah, twat.
Yeah.
And
Sorry if you're a particularly religious ancient Egyptianologist.
They mention it once, and I'm like, why are they calling it?
I mean, first of all, why are you mispronouncing Jake's name that badly?
Exactly.
And also, if you're going to bring it up, like maybe make it a thing. If you're going to name drop like that. Like, that's not his name. His name is not Tawati. And are they giving him a new nickname or something? Make it make sense, gamers. Hippo emoji.
There we go. Car 56.
Car 56.
The resident Ghostbuster.
Ghostbuster, yeah?
Ghostbuster. Welcome back to Car 56 review of
so
Moon Knight.
Naturally, we didn't plan it. You got it again. That's 6 for 6.
I don't know
5
how
for
this
5.
happens. Don't know how this happens. Written live as I watch it. And this week I want answers. Because what the frick is going on? Not even 2 minutes in and I'm confused again. Goddess of women
me
and
too.
children. Goddess of women and children.
Right.
Fuck the men, I guess.
Why is she like the taxi driver? Which actually, that is ironic that he described it as it being a taxi, because it's not wrong. Why is the goddess of women and children boating them here?
Right.
And also, is that Khonshu's girlfriend?
No, because the other one was like music and dance.
Yeah, fertility or
like,
some shit,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Although women and children, would you think that would be kind of fertility, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm confused again. Goddess of women and children. Don't you mean Jake the hippo? Vengeance in the bathroom once more. He said the freaking line. His dead mum is a bitch. Wouldn't be surprised if Mark killed her. Jumping ahead a bit, where Mark has just been transported to Arrow's office. What the frick is even going on? I'm so confused. What about Jake? Is he made up? If so, the talking hippo is made up. What the fuck? That was the most realistic part of the show. Shake my head. Mum's dead. Sheps called it. Can't wait for Hydro next week. Looks like Steven is starting to take vengeance seriously. Except he uses a baseball bat instead of his fist. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, this is definitely the weirdest review on Streamcast yet. Sorry, I'm keeping myself drugged up so the COVID doesn't hit so hard. See you next week for the finale. Laters, Gators. I do like his consciousness streams because they don't make sense. But if you watch the stream, you're like, oh, I think I know which bit he means there.
Like, I feel like I know what he's saying because I'm talking about it, but I don't think anyone watching has a freaking clue what he's saying, which I love.
It's like someone, yeah, like you've had gone on a whole trip, and it was like, and then there was the flippers, you know, the
yeah, like you're trying to recount a story to a third person that wasn't there, but you're telling a story with somebody who was there, and you're just referring to inside jokes the whole time. Kran, which I think I said that right, said, "Who's Twatty?" I don't know, bruv. Maybe it's just the ancient Egyptian pronunciation of Jake Lockley.
That's it, yeah. That's it.
I'm only familiar with Jake Lockley, the mass murderer cab driver. Also, now, because everybody's saying like that, I'm like certain he's not a mass murderer. Do you know what I mean?
Surely not, right?
Shaking my head. Very poor. They aren't being comic accurate at all. Hippo emoji. Also, some of these hippo emojis aren't in the comments. They're just reacts, but I'm adding it. You're welcome.
So have you seen this?
I'll do alphas here. Jake the hippo, a.k.a. Alpha, says, start from the bottom. You do this one. This is clearly for you.
So for those of you guys that don't know, I don't know how he's done this. I guess he's gone to a website to do
I've done this for Tyler, so you can get stuff.
Now you go to a website and then like it flips it
put
for
my
you.
case, stuff in it, flips it.
Okay, so the whole thing is upside down. So I'm holding it normal way, but the text is upside down.
If you turn your laptop and it'll be perfect.
Shall I turn it up?
Yeah.
Shall I do it like that? Yeah.
Yeah, because
All right, here we go.
You have to.
Oh my god, some of the characters look so weird. This is.
Oh yeah, they're not actual. It's not like a mirrored G, for example. It's like a symbol that would be a G that way around.
Nobody else has the scales like that? ? So I guess we're just saying that mental splits are extremely rare and that nobody in history of ancient Egypt had a mental illness even remotely like this. It's a good point. That's not a good point.
Yes.
Actually. Yeah, I guess because Jake the hippo acts like it's like, oh, I've never seen that before.
Ancient Egypt was well known for having a very, very well funded mental health helpline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's just because they threw everyone in the Nile, isn't it?
Okay. Nah, it's not. Let's not look at that, Disney or Marvel. Jake the hippo has conveniently left the lads to their own devices after saying that they would throw them overboard if the scales didn't balance, and they didn't balance. Oh, turns out they were just waiting to give the scales a chance. Oh wow, it's so hard to read.
It's
because your brain does the automatic thing, doesn't it?
What's funny is if this was just the right way up and you were reading it upside down, you'd be able to do it.
Exactly.
But the font's all fucky, so you can't do it.
Oh wow! When Stephen meets Dr. Arrow, the accent and phrases really fly over the place, and it's great. I'm surprised no one else noticed the Jake thing that I noticed. I think if it's Jake,
I'm literally when I get home, I'll be in like 45 minutes. I'll get home.
Do it right now,
seriously.
seriously. Was really expecting to see the third sarcophagus in this episode,
Me too.
but I guess we'll see more of Jake the Hippo next week. Thought that the scales would only balance once all three hearts were together.
That was my
Exactly.
guess as well, yeah.
Mother reminds me of the abusive father in Doom Patrol. Think I prefer crazy
Doom Patrol's a great show, by the way. I've told you about that a few times.
Jane to Moon Knight, but Moon Knight is still great. There we go. Thank you very much.
I will say this episode took this show from midnight to Moon Knight for me.
Hey!
I feel like Midnight's been something they've been saying for a while. I don't think I made that up. I'll take credit for it, but I don't think I made it up. I did feel like the show was a little bit mid. This episode has cemented it as being a good show in my mind. I don't like that. I think the pacing's all gonna most likely be fucked, but I've enjoyed it so far. Also, the big takeaway: Oscar Isaac, genuinely good actor,
Yeah.
genuine, and does a good British accent. You idiots! You guys have no
I
freaking
think he
clue.
does. He just says some weird stuff, but that's like down to writing. You know, it's not his fault.
Right? He does like a good central north central-ish Camden, East Camden accent. It's fine.
There's one review that I forgot to read out.
Oh,
here. It was put before I put the thing up, and I jokingly said, anyone who's written before this is not going to get their thing read out. I haven't put the thing up yet, so therefore it doesn't count. It's voided. But it's Vit Crass, who wrote in. He also messaged me on Twitter just to make sure I wouldn't forget it. He says, review of episode 5. So it seems like they are really going to ignore the third personality again.
Yeah, what the hell?
Go back and have a look to see, because it's almost like he's doing a New Yorker accent.
I'm fully unironically, the first thing I'm doing when I get home is checking that out.
There we go.
Yeah.
And sticking with 2, the hippo was interesting at times, silly with her flashcards. Poor Stephen, the moment he decides to man up, he gets tossed overboard. Another ending that leaves me with a what the fuck face.
Are you really complaining that once you man up, you get tossed off? Think about what you just said, bruv.
That'll be a lesson to all of you guys. It seems like the last episode will be so rushed with resurrection and defeat of the villain. Also, I'm sure if Monica Rambeau was in this show, Sheps would be taking notes, and the show would instantly go up in ratings in his mind.
I'll tell you what, if Monica Rambeau was in the show, I wouldn't have the spare IQ to be taking notes
So
or
what
the
else
spare
happened?
blood flow.
What else happened?
Like Monica Rambeau dressed as like, what's that? Cleopatra.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it, boys.
Right. I'm going to add that to the Spank Bank.
Look up Rule 34. I'm sure it's up there somewhere.
Gotta be. I feel like that's really specific. That's really specific.
Hey, there's much more specific stuff on there. Okay, I know.
True.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for writing in to another episode of Streamcast. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the support. One more episode of this, and then there'll be the little bit of a break until Kenobi.
Kenobi's in 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's
Is it
end
3
of
weeks?
May. End of May.
4
27th of May.
Call it 4 weeks.
We have to figure out what we're going to do about that, because it's going to come out on a Friday, the first 2 episodes.
Oh, God, we're fricked.
It's a double episode, and it's on a Friday. And then it's going to go apparently back to Wednesday, and it's going to be 1 episode each.
Okay. We can
So
do a
that
weekend
first-
recording.
I was going to say, for that 1 week, let's see if we can do it. Yeah, we'll see if we can do it. All right, guys. We'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you all
I
for
love how
being
we're
so
making
epic
out that
brares.
recording on the weekend is going to be difficult. We record in the middle of the week.
You know,
We went to all the effort, moving work around and shit, so we have a day in the middle of the week.
and I'll be moved in by then, so it's like, oh god, with the house, you know,
Right.
You know it is.
All right, man.
All right, catch you all in the next one, boys. Love you all. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
The hippo is definitely Jake.
It's for sure,
For
Jake,
sure.
and it's got to be.
These
It makes
guys-
sense. Taxi driver.
Of course,
That's what they've been saying. They've been telling us. And you were right, boys. I think you were right. Taxi driver.
that we just need to see it be a.
And
you said-
definitely a mass murderer, right? Anybody that gets thrown off taxi dead, mass murdering taxi driver.
mass
Now it makes sense. innit?
confirmed.
And no one's told me hippos don't munch octopuses, so Hydra still.
Hydra. I was in the live chat last week, and when you were saying that, they're like, "Sheps, Hydra confirmed." He managed to make Hydra confirmed again.
So smart. Big brain.